reason, no logic. G'day everyone, we're back with King of the Hill livecast from All Reason No Logic's Sunday stream. Myself and Pradeth are on the mic to check out all the best plays and the wrong and right decisions made by our 3 kings on the top of the hill and the 13 peasants down on the low ground.
You're joining us on Throne, which is the birthing home of King of the Hill. A map that we just saw and talked about in chat has turned into quite the game mode that we have full lobbies for every Sunday night. If you want to join us, hit us up Sunday nights, link in the description to join the Discord.
So, Throne and King of the Hill, here are the rules for this game mode. Firstly, there's a 10-minute no rush timer, and due to the start box restrictions, the kings cannot pass that upper level, and the peasants cannot pass that lower level that Pradeth and I are neatly joining our lines together for. That was very intimate.
So that middle plateau is no man's land for the first 10 minutes of the game.
Also, no structures are allowed to hit the enemy eco centers. So you can shoot a Juno into that mid tier, you can shoot artillery into the mid tier, but not the upper and lower tiers.
Defensive structures used for defense only, essentially.
Yeah, that's it. And of course, the no rush till 10 minutes. I can't remember. Was there another rule? I thought there was 4. Have fun.
We turn off air. And in general, and one of the great things about this community is that everyone helps to enforce those rules because everyone's here to play a game that they love in a way that it isn't quite set up for. So everyone does their best to make it happen. So let's jump on in and let's have a look at what the kings are doing. We've got quite a heavy... we're going for essentially what would be considered a heavy eco start for the kings. They're all trying to put down as much eco as they can. They're all getting out a whole more constructors than you'd normally see. Looks like a range between 4 and 5 for each of the players, and they're just trying to get that eco out as best as possible. With 10 minutes, there's no need to build
note that
units.
there's the bonus of the resources for those kings as well. If you select one of those kings, you can see each mech is worth 3.7, whereas if you select one of the peasants around the map it, they're only worth 2.4.
One note for this one, we've only given Duffy a plus 40 because he was an incredibly dominant king and he agreed to take a slight deficit to the bonus just so he could be a king again. It does look like the peasant position is more favored in this game type. Running on down, let's look at some of the peasant builds, and then we'll jump over to the some of the more interesting ones after we've looked at a standard one. So looking at Punjab, he's just going for the same thing that the kings are, which is max eco, and this being a geo spot, he's trying to get that geo as soon as possible. A couple of builders, couple of build turrets, and that's about it. Whereas if we look at the top of the map, we see that there's 2 players up here that are going for what we consider to be a communist economy. It's where they both work together to try and get that edge early on.
You really do need that from at least 1 or 2 lanes in this game mode. Of course, though, for the commanders up on the top of the hill, the kings, they can now see which commander is down there. You see that beam of light coming out of the top of the commander, so they can see the light green player, SGT Raccoon, Sergeant Raccoon is being reclaimed. So they know that there's going to be eco happening over there. So maybe that's the first spot that they're going to attack.
For me, if I was a king, that's the side that I would put defenses for recluses against, because that's the side I'm expecting a T2 attack from. We've just got someone breaking the rules here. Just gonna just need to get a pause from someone. There we go. He's pulling them back. Unfortunately, because the game isn't quite set up for something like this, we can't use the no rush timers. We have to, otherwise the kings would be stuck in a small box and the peasants could still go wherever they want.
I've just realised Duffy's been cheating. He just keeps reclaiming T1 labs.
So one of the quirks of having a bonus is if a building reclaims for 2,000 metal and you have plus 40 bonus, it'll actually reclaim for 2,800 metal. He did negotiate that plus 40 if he acknowledged he wouldn't do that. So he's just being a bit
upsetting
cheeky.
to see. We'll see how much that affects him. I think he might get timed out for a week or 2 of the king being a king, because that bonus does help out so much. I think
just looking at the eco, he's produced 3k more than the next highest king because of that,
Mm.
which is actually quite an extra
Unfortunate.
bonus.
For anyone watching that, make sure you don't do that because I think we're going to use this as the example. You will get banned. It's the one and only. Oh well. Let's move on down around the base. We see some eco going on in the water now. The reason for eco in the water is it's quite safe down there. You're not going to get those economy centers destroyed so easily, so it doesn't hurt to have them down there. However, it does take a little bit longer to set these up, and you're getting no units on the land. Probably by the time you get a big enough eco in the water, you might be lucky to be getting T2 units out by the end of the 10 minutes.
It's also debatable on its worth, because yes, plus 20 for tidal is very good, but the wind here is 5 to 19, which means only a 6.2% wind risk. And even then, when you're wind risking, it's only a fraction under the under efficient. So I wouldn't worry too much about that one. It's mostly just if you want that safe play or if you don't have enough space. And considering there's 13 players for the peasants, space is definitely a concern, and not getting a start location can certainly, a standard start location can certainly affect your build. 6 minutes in, and it looks like we've got some players that are starting for huge spam rushes. Atlan is jumping in with ticks already, and it looks like Bondman is as well. So this could be a very aggressive side. Both of these players will converge on the one entrance. That entrance will have some beamer defense and some gauntlet defense, but if there's enough ticks, they'll just blow right on through. What you need is fire and lightning to defend that one. Having a look at the communist eco, Tank Tom and and Sergeant Raccoon are putting together a very strong eco. They're going for the fusion. If you're going to do that, you really need to reclaim the lab. With a communist eco, it's very possible to get a fusion up, but it is also still a very large drain. 4,500 metal that's not going to be in units.
Would also save, what is it? So it's 4,300 metal to build that, or the advanced geo 1,600.
Definitely going to get the advanced geo, so that's definitely a mistake out of these two, but it is what it is, and the fusion is less vulnerable than the geo, so we'll see whether that pays off for them. Quite a lot of T2 going on around the map, and a decent amount of communism. Units should start popping up around about now, and we're seeing recluses coming out of the green players to the side. Recluses super strong for this game mode because they can pop up and get into these ecos. We saw some good defense last time with the invisible cameras and pop-up turrets, but they came up at around about the 11 to 12 minute mark. So if these recluses come out faster this time, this could be absolutely devastating.
I'm just going to give Duffy a 12-minute time limit for T3. He's not allowed to build it.
He's got double fusion reactor at the 8-minute mark. Not impossible to do as a king, but that 3,000 metal definitely let him get that second one up. That's why he needed those. Fusions. Oh, sorry. That's why he needed those metal storages.
Yeah. So we've got 1 minute left almost, and it looks like we're going into the building facility now for the red player. I'm not sure if he's going to go T2 there. Yellow, Ollie's going for the recluse.
The recluse
and
as
one
well.
thing we haven't seen yet out of these players.
Doesn't look like this is going to be anywhere near as aggressive from the kings this time round.
You want spam for sure.
Yep.
You know, a map like this, that's what's going to get the win.
About it, and let's have a quick look at what everyone is rounding up. So we have recluses coming out of the green player. We have tick spam coming out of Atlan. More ticks coming out of the purple player, but they look to be defensive because he's spending a lot on other things at the moment, so there's not going to be a big push from those coming up. Couple of T1 units, again, not overly aggressive out of the peasants this time round, going up to 20 seconds to go, and there's only a handful of units that are going to be pouring on in. Will be interesting to watch these recluses bypass each other, even with the big eco bonus of the top of the tier. It's 8 recluses to 5, but they're going to come in on different angles, so they shouldn't cross paths.
Oh, 10 minutes passed. I'm too
10
busy
minutes
typing.
have passed. Yep, we both saw that comment, and now we're getting the aggression in. Not enough units, I don't think, to break this very top side. With a couple of twin guards and LLTs, there's only a handful of ticks, so it doesn't look like they're going to punch on through. The recluses are heading on down. They're actually attacking on a weird vector. They're not using their mobility. They're just pushing on in, and they walk into an EMP, so they're going to be absolutely cleaned up. And we have recluses that are coming up the steps over here. No defenses here. Alexei not quite got enough up and running for this, so these recluses are going to come in and do a lot of damage. We do have, while they're climbing up, we did have a tick attack over here, but that is being absolutely thwarted by mass fiends. The recluses pop over the wall. They've seen the comm. They're targeting the comm. The comm is not moving, has not reacted in time. We'll get a D-gun off that will hit one of them, but he is going down. Huge eco boom. That is one of the kings partially taken out of the fight. Not quite enough eco, not quite enough units, not quite enough defenses. These units have definitely paid for themselves, and this player, though not out, still definitely a fighting chance, but that's the sort of damage you need to see on a king in order for the kings not to take over early. Great job
Blue
there.
almost getting a scuttle into the base there. They do a lot of damage.
Scuttles being the invisible tanks, are they?
That invisible crawling bomb.
That's right. Wow, that would have been big if that had gone on in, but no dice, and we're now looking at a recluse defense for the yellow player while he tries to rebuild, and the peasants are just starting to come online now. Though with all these fiends from the red player, this is going to be a hard hold for Bondman and the blue player.
It is a clear eco advantage for the blue team at the moment, with about, I don't know, it's hard to see with the reclaim. I think it's about 60 to 70% advantage.
Oof. A termite managed to get up into yellow's base again, and this time more eco down. A couple of these arbiters firing missiles off as well. Absolutely great offensive from the peasants players, but again, it is the red player they're going to be struggling the most to fight.
Yeah, Ollie doing a good job to defend here, but not splitting his units up, all going for the one spot, which are the arbiters, and those termites are still on the other side. Sorry, the recluses are still on the other side of the base there.
So as long as the kings manage to hold this spot in a decent manner, it should give the red team enough time to push down into one of the bases. We do have Karganeths that are starting to push in on the other side.
Those fiends are doing a lot of damage to themselves by being a bit too clumped up.
We'll see whether or not the Karganeths manage to push on in and do the damage they need to. We do have an invisible comm. Should be able to get some good D-guns. That is great positioning. Should be able to get all three. Perfect D-guns right there. That shuts down so much metal out of the T3 player. And we have a big run by on two sides. They're heading up into the middle. This is big damage now. The fiends are cleaning it up. All of the build turrets are cleaning it up, and it looks like the top holds but a lot of damage done, and now the ticks are streaming in. A stream is not quite as devastating based on the defenses that are here. Those twin guards are going to be great for shutting down the stream, but they do need to get a little bit more here. A Karganeth moving into place to try to deal with this. Rocketeers, great for breaking defenses, but more so for breaking LLTs, not twin guards. Twin guards do have one of their two lasers capable of hitting them at max range. Another group of ticks trying to pump on through, but no dice here. The offensive has effectively been blunted on the bottom side because the fiends were needed for defense, and that's giving the peasants more chances to get on up the hills. Does look like this is turning into a slight bit of peasant favor, but we do still have scaling economy. The APHIS is up for Duffy, and APHIS is going down for the red player. If they can hold on for a little while and push on out with these units, should be very strong, considering there's 9 Karganeths. That's the sort of attack that can break a base and break a defense like this. Definitely does need to close that little gap where the light blue ticks are building up, because it's another area they can punch on through. Sounds like one of the players is getting greedy and going for a T3 eco. or just some T3 units. Look at this.
Ape is probably about
Yep,
1 minute off for the blue player.
very, very good. And the top side is just top side tank Tom is just starting to get theirs as well, and it's not affecting their tick spam. So we should see plenty of opportunities to punch on in.
Tank Tom's ticks are really building up in numbers, but these twin guards are going to do quite a bit against them. Having
Look
said
at
that,
that
it's probably
gap.
the best.
If they follow that gap, but there's a demon and some Cargonets,
Demon's probably the best thing to go against
and
them.
it's
And again,
just the worst
oh.
timing. Oh no!
And he's clumped them up, and so they're just going to explode.
They're gonna absolutely melt. Though the
That is not how to do ticks.
That's unfortunate. Though the one thing that the demon did do is it did take out one of the twin guards, and that could actually make a difference in the future. Tank Tom needs to switch away from these ticks if he's not going to use them. Having a quick...
really going into some big expansion now with a huge build power field going up, going into some extra eco, and I really hope he's not about to reclaim another lab.
Look, if you reclaim one lab, it is okay, but using it to generate metal is a little bit over the top.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those things you just have to play it by ear, because if the Kings are losing and they start doing that, not such a problem. If they're winning and they're doing that, and if they're winning because of doing that, it's more of a problem. Looks like there's
he's actually building constructors out of this one, so this one's okay.
Having a look up here, we've actually got a recluse attack getting ready to jump on in, but there's a lot of twin guards, and we've seen how effective twin guards are for defense, even against recluses. You have to
These are
quickly...
actually beamers, which are even better in my opinion.
I think we're looking at different areas, but that is a-okay. There's recluses coming up in all areas, and the recluses are actually popping over the hill for defense as well. One of the things you have to do is keep them mobile, because those missiles, they track a teeny bit, but not much. Having a look at what's going on for the peasants, we have Aphis coming up for the blue player. No great expansion coming out from the from Atlan at the moment, but he does have a Juno for defense just in case. T3 out of Tengen tank. That's going to get a catapult. That could shake things up a little bit. Having a look down.
Interesting to see that economies. Usually after this game goes for a while, the space restriction that the red team has at the top of the map stops their eco from booming, but they've actually caught up with Duffy going into all these Aphises, whereas we've only got an advantage of about 20% now in metal income from the peasants. We're at about 60-70 before.
There's a huge amount of spending from the peasants into T3 labs and Aphises, and we'll see whether that ends up paying off, because if the top team does scale as hard as it looks like they are right now, it could become very hard for the peasants to actually beat whatever's coming out from them. But similarly, if the peasants are given too much time and they can all pressure all sides at once, with particularly long-range artillery, that sort of thing, it could be a massive problem, because you only have to get close-ish to the Kings to start raining missiles down. Things like your Arbiters and your... Yeah, Arbiters getting in again, they nearly take out a fusion reactor. Yellow really is the punching bag of this map at the moment. Though, if all of these units do manage to push in for red, then I think that there'll be a peasant punching bag, but playing cautiously at the moment and just letting all of these Sheldons just rain fire down and chip damage away. And here comes the catapult, raining so much damage onto that red army. Don't even... actually,
probably gave its position away a little bit too quick. I would have tried to just lob some missiles up over the hill and hope for the best at getting an eco.
Hitting army is good, hitting eco is significantly better. And this is one of the areas where the catapult is actually slightly inferior to the Vanguard. The Vanguard's arc of fire lets them shoot up onto these cliffs more easily, whereas the catapult struggles a little bit with that. Red understanding that he needs to push in, because that catapult can do a lot of damage to his army.
A little bit of a hack with that is just to aim for the very peak of one of those hills, and you'll be able to miss a few of those missiles and they'll go over the top.
Does look like there is so much spam coming out of the orange player right now, pushing down towards the green side of the map, that this is turning into a bit of a struggle there. Spam trying to meet it in return, but the Kargis are cleaning it up nicely. This spam is actually slated to run around the entirety of the neutral platform. Not neutral anymore, but that's what it was at the start of the map, and then head on down into the bases. So he's building himself a vision and unit defense. I actually
We might see
really
a
like
Kargi
this.
pushing to yellow right now.
Ooh. Aren't those
That
orange as
will go down to
Kargis? So aren't they...
the blue Kargi.
Oh, the blue... Oh, no! There's a couple of Recluse here to defend, but Kargis actually do pretty good against Recluses. They do pretty good against... Oh, no, he's popped over the cliff pretty hard, but he is going to get the... He's going to get the fusion. Can he get... He's not going to get the second one. Too much damage going on to the... Ooh, very close.
We want that catapult doing a little bit of extra damage from down the bottom, but we don't see that.
And with this spam starting to make its way around the neutral platform, it's going to get much harder to do those sorts of attacks. And the catapult's definitely caught out now. Going down to the grunts and the surround bonus. Those of you that don't overly play, if you surround a unit, then all the attacks do a heck of a lot more damage. Quick look at the ecos, it's actually very, very even at the moment. Slightly 10% in favor to the red team. And that is going to start hurting a lot as these players start pushing in and doing damage. One catapult to defend against two demons that are backed up by an army of fiends and Sheldons. This is going to start being a big problem. You got to get that comm hidden. But standing still is not going to be the name of the game because the Sheldons already have a trace on it and the Fiends already know where it is. That is a comm down, and it looks like we're going to have the first break for our Peasants team as the Kings punch on through.
Sniper's doing quite good work on the top tier, sorry, the middle tier, the green side, green-blue, B-bomb, and artificial banana managing to deal with all this spam.
They just have to find a way to get the snipers to fire onto the defenses so they can push in, as compared to firing into all of those grunts, because every single one of those grunts is consuming, what is it, 2,000 energy a shot or something along those lines. And those snipers need to be putting their damage elsewhere, because right now the bottom side of the map is getting trashed by demons. One of the questions just popped up from the spectators. Air is not enabled at the moment. And it looks like the green side is about to have two fronts that they need to defend, and considering the struggle they're having against all of that spam, that is going to be a tough call, especially since one of the things they have to defend against is demons. Looking up the top, we've got a second Aphis about to come online for Tank Tom, and hopefully we'll see him moving into units like Karganeths to try and punch in and take on this eco, because all it will take to swing this match is a couple of Arbiters at the bottom of this cliff that hit on these
Vanguards. I'd love to see out
Vanguards.
Armada.
Any sort of long range unit that can hit high into this. Like we're seeing them right now. The Arbiters are hitting the spam, the buildings that are constructing the spams. They've destroyed the. They're working on destroying the spam line. They're working on destroying the build power, and if they can fire just a little bit deeper, they'll be on the metal conversion. And if they can take out that metal conversion, it would be huge.
What just happened on the left? Missed that. Commander down.
Looks like a commander went down. I can't see what was killing it though.
A ton of Recluse came over the back. That was maybe a distraction.
Unfortunately for the, unless all comms go down, that's not the biggest loss for the red team. It's just something they can either res or eat. What we really need to do is see the popping of some of those Aphis or some of that conversion. The conversion very easy to pop. Looks like we have a good amount.
I think red's just ahead still.
We've got a very strong hold coming from the purple side with these starlights pushing back just about everything, with the spam line in front of them protecting them. And what are we seeing here? We've got a it's just a couple of shell shockers that are firing up into the base. Nothing too crazy. Looking over here, we've got
doing a lot more damage at a tank home, and there we go. We see a massive hit of those Arbiters just guessing.
Yes, and that right there could be enough to turn this match around, because that is so much conversion that just got shut down. That's most of
Straight
the eco.
away,
It's
we went from a 15% advantage to a 20% advantage in the other favour. So we're looking at a 35% turnaround in eco there.
Yep, that is absolutely huge. And it does look like the rest of the attacks have been halted, and the purple team, the purple side, is taking the opportunity to try and push on in, using the range of those starlights to try and punch through the defenses. There is no spam at the moment, and there's a huge T1 wall in the front, and a large contingent of T2 fiends that might be able to help push on in. If they can break these defenses here, it would be huge.
All
Red
those
is
arbiters that did all the damage have just not been micro, and they're getting taken out by all these Cargonists now, but all the action is down south, like you said.
Yep, pushing on in. A lot of those starlights have fallen now. The explosions taking out a
close.
lot of those units. They pushed up with a move command and not a fight command, unfortunately. So they got in range of a lot of things and taken out, so that is that blunted. But now we have welders pushing in from the top side of the map, and they're only fighting into T1, into a couple of twin guards and
I think Tom is not building the right
LLTs.
units to deal with these Cargonists that have now pushed all the way through, taking his
Cargonists,
commander, but he needs to stop building arbiters and get some snipers out. Oh, he doesn't have snipers. Cans, mammoths, and his commander is not hidden.
Cargonists are so strong for taking out just about everything, and because that comm is not hidden, it's not even going to be able to get a single D-gun off. Gotta invis that comm. And spam, and look at them taking out spam. Their missiles are just so efficient for taking out spam. Does look like it's going to get the T2 lab. Huge blow for the team, for that team up there. And one of the Kargis is still almost on full health. The build power should go down. And if the build power goes down, then all it will take is a time. Oh, managed to eat one of those Kargis just in time. The last one heading over towards the Aphis. It's killing the wrong Aphis. But there is the conversion, half the conversion. There's the rest of the conversion, and that is all of the Aphis gone down. Big blunder for the Peasants team. One of the greatest ecos on that side, and it could have been so easily avoided. Unfortunately,
so against Cargis, you just want to get those high DPS T2 units out, or the ones with the higher health, like the Mammoth.
Even with all the additional micro that comes from having all of these players, it does look like we're getting a lot of situations where the Peasants are just being caught out in bad spots with units. We just had a Vanguard sitting on its own just below Yellow's base. It only managed to get one shot off before it was cleaned up by the Recluse, and now, only seconds later, we have its defenses coming in the form of Razorbacks. Imagine if those Razorbacks had actually been in front of it and able to defend it. This could be another eco center going down. But as things stand, Red is pushing back into the lead when it comes to the eco, as we're getting a lot more of the conversion back online. And the Peasants...
What we need to do is get one or two Vanguards up on one of those hills, maybe there, maybe over here where we've got possession of the land, anywhere over here, and just dumb fire up onto the hill. You're going to hit something at this stage of the game where most of the area is blanketed by eco.
The other thing that's also worth looking at is trying to sneak some invisible units in. At this stage, there's almost undoubtedly going to be some holes in the defenses.
Buffy changing over to the catapults.
Catapult's going to be devastating based on the compositions that they're fighting against a lot of small units. However, the slow fire rate is definitely going to be a bit of a problem because of all the spam. So all sides just fighting on the neutral platform at the moment, but it does certainly seem that the Kings are getting that little bit extra chip damage against the Peasants. So it's ever so slowly, I think, going to start swinging towards the Kingos over time.
Cannot see any sort of artillery or long-range attack units coming out of any of the Peasants teams, so I don't see how this is going to change. We have the one Vanguard. Oh, sorry, Vanguard's coming out of Raccoon, probably the only player.
We do have a sniper wall just at the orange entrance. Certainly is going to help clean up a lot of this spam, but again, that's a lot of power going into those shots, and all it takes is some manual fire from all of these from these 6 catapults to take all of that down. We definitely need to see some value coming out of them before they're taken out.
I think Tom going to try and rebuild, but going straight into the advanced geo doesn't have the eco for that, unfortunately.
You gotta scale the way that you can, though it doesn't look like he has a... Oh, he does have another builder, so he is getting wind. Hoping for that overflow economy. Look at how close to the edge so much of this conversion is. Orange has some right behind his front turrets. Yellow has his right next to the front entrance. One catapult, which penetrates shields because they're missiles, would just be able to cripple the eco yet again, but nothing. But that's the advantage we have seeing from the top. Large recluse army popping in from purple. Does look that is a huge recluse army coming in from all sides. This actually could be enough to clean up red. I wish they were on a bit more of a fight command though.
Look over on the left hand side. Red's base being attacked by a ton of recluse.
Yep, already looking in on that one. He needs to target that Aphis before he loses all of them. But he's only managed to take out T1 Wind, so despite this huge attack and how vicious it looked, it still hasn't actually done a crazy amount of damage. That's some conversion going, that's a fusion going, that's the Aphis. And it's gone. That is red effectively completely reset. That's one of the kings down. What a great play out of the purples. Building up all those recluse.
Blew back into the eco advantage for metal.
Actually, that's crazy. The one player has been taken out for the kings essentially. And
Duffy though, mammoth attack. And now it's back in the other advantage.
Yep. Because that was an eco center taken out. Why on earth would you build your eco there? Like, let's just be honest. Why would you build your eco there? There's so many spots you could go to, and that's where it ended up. Very, very, very hard spot to defend. And now we've got this push coming in.
Oh no.
Duffy teasing the players, saying that he can 1v13.
This stage of the game, I don't think he's wrong.
He's got the eco for it, and with the defenses that Alexi, a AllReasonNoLogic regular, is throwing out there, I definitely think that he's got a good shot at it. There's only 7 comms left, but green side is getting up there with Thors. They're starting to get vanguards. They've got huge amounts of defenses, that sniper line. There is a possibility here. What he needs to do is EMP those catapults with the Thor's EMP missiles and try and bust on in. Oh, great. I don't know what did it there. It might have been Arbiters. No, it's a Vanguard. It is a Vanguard that just took out a huge chunk again of the
nice.
of the conversion, and the Vanguard is moving on around, still targeting that same spot. But if he changes targets, should be able to. How is he moving and targeting one place?
I don't know. That's a great question.
I need to learn how to do that, because that
Hide
is
trajectories on, hold positions on.
It's got to be a command similar to fight. I've been trying to work out how to do that for a long time. Unfortunately, it is backing away right now. But the eco is again in favor of the blue team, despite losing the purple side of things. The push has been slowed down but not stopped. Those mammoths, there's 12 mammoths, they are going to be an absolute nightmare to stop, and purple isn't sending his units that way. It looks like purple is just getting as many recluse as he can, and is going to try and push into the middle, despite losing the eco. Looking in the water, purple has just been spamming out that safe eco in the background. Same with the... Wow, we actually have some ships coming in. We have mobile anti-nuke coming up. The naval players, this game has been going on long enough, they might actually start to make a difference.
Well, P3 lab is up almost, so we'll probably see a bunch of Titans come out of that player in the water.
Would love to see a huge Titan attack, but unfortunately we're getting another player eliminated by the spam and the mammoths. This spam in front of these mammoths is actually going to be really hard to stop, considering that the players that he's about to run into are focused mostly on spam themselves and what was recluse. We do have some starlights coming in, but the starlights are going to get stopped on the spam, wasting their valuable shots, and the eco is so vulnerable. The pawns are going to get right into that, and one pawn got there and it's already 28%. That's going to be the eco going. Oh, Bondman manages to save it just in time. Manages to hold that. Wow, that was crazy close. But this does
Spam coming in on orange, though, is probably going to stop these starlights from being effective. They need to back up, and unfortunately, he's probably going to turn these around, which is not going to do much.
Yeah, they
Actually, no, he's
definitely
getting
needed
in.
to be on a fight command. Razorbacks actually lose in a 1v1 versus Mammoths, and we've got a lot of spam pinging. Snipers in the background, though, helping out. Razorbacks still charging in, and it does look like that attack was cleaned up. So we've just managed to survive with the peasants still slightly ahead on the eco, but with the powerhouses that are up the top, this is going to be so hard to
Look at
push
this.
into.
We're seeing a Hydra trajectory go onto the advanced energy converter on the right-hand side, and boom.
Oh, yes! Again, all of this metal that you can take out. As long as you have the forces to deal with what they currently have, if you're crippling their eco like this, you will slowly overwhelm the Kings. What a tight game this is turning into. But the Karganeths are marching. The yellow Karganeths are marching. Yellow feels safe enough with 12 pulsars at the top that he's sending his Karganeths out on the offensive, and the only thing there to really stop them is a couple of Razorbacks and some spam. Spam falls so hard to these, and with the Mammoths in front, I don't actually think that this attack will be stopped in time unless we get some absolutely insane com D guns, which could happen. We've seen it from Bomberman before, but his com is weak. His com is very weak, but it is in a good position. He's going to get 3 with the first D gun, misses the D gun, and the Mammoths are going to take him down. That is unfortunate, but still blunted half the attack. We'll see whether or not that's enough to save the rest of the base. The Karganeths. Oh, spam coming in from the left side. It's going to take out the eco center. Karganeths doing what they need to do. The spam has been mismicroed, so it's standing there and not doing anything, but it's being caught. It's heading on in. That's the eco center down. The Karganeths and the spam managing to push their way in. That is a devastating blow. This is one of the strongest peasant factions left, and they've just been crippled. Income still in favor of the blue team, but that's all about to change. Well, it's not about to change completely, but it's about to get a nice hefty chunk out of it.
Nicely done by Ollie with those Kargis, a nice push, and like you said, those pulses giving him confidence. But we have a ton of Kargis coming over the hill on the north, returning fire. Sorry, on the south, returning fire.
That is a lot of Kargis, and they are lined up to get one of the eco centers. The only thing there to really stop them is some recluses, and a couple of Kargis from the yellow player as well. He just has to micro these well enough that they punch on through and get that conversion. With the recluses following up, if only the recluses had gone in to take those initial volleys. Shields going down. It does look like the conversion gets done, and so does the build power. The build power is huge. Even if they have the metal, they can't spend it. And it does look like the conversion has gone down on the other side of the map now. So this is now a big problem for the Kings. All the conversion is down. That means that their total metal income's only sitting at 500. And I think a lot of that may have to do with some reclaim from build turrets near units. This is going to be a pretty big problem for the red team.
Well, the Kings were in the advantage at that stage of the game.
But it does look like the overwhelming micro and the continuous attack and siege from these players is pushing just over the edge for the red team. They're now in very dire straits. I still think it will take a while for the peasants to push in, and the red team really needs to get their conversion back online. They need to get it shielded. They need to get it protected. They do still have a huge army out. These Kargis should actually be able to push all the way back out, take Tank Tom, and keep on going. In fact, there's almost no resistance if they keep attacking around the outside. Yep, the direction, he's seen it, he's going to follow it. If they keep going in that direction...
Oh, some recluses almost getting that last big block of conversion down on the right-hand side.
That block of conversion is the only thing keeping them in the game. But again, the question is... Can the peasants stop this Karganeth attack? It's slow, it's pondering, but I don't think Tank Tom has enough, and I think that the eco center is close enough for the last purple player in the map to do something. It's strong enough to push on through that. So all that has to happen is the Kings hold on long enough for them to equalize. Red doing his absolute best to get back in the game, and is trying to get spam down to stop all that sniper pushing. but it does seem like the vanguards are really punching above their weight and getting the damage deep into the base. Kargi's starting their march through Tank Tom. Tank Tom, he's got an invis comm. He actually has to wait for the first Kargi to go past, but he doesn't. Now the Kargis can see him. They are targeting him. He will turn invisible again, but he now knows that they're there, though the Kargis, they are, or two more go down, but now that's the comm visible, but the Kargi's not firing. They bunched up on each other, not going down. And the missile's slightly off kilter. He's moving now, and they're all bunched up. This is great for the peasants. Tank Tom's going to get a huge D-gun here. Might even get a second. He does. That is one of the biggest hopes for the team, for the Kings. Absolutely nuked. These Kargis should still be able to push down Tank Tom's base, but I think Tank Tom just did the damage that's going to save the Grey player.
Red players just had enough time and they've just come back online now.
They have come back online, but not economically. They've only come back online with units. What he really needs is conversion, and that's starting to come down now because the energy excess for the yellow team is absolutely crazy.
I think Tom's base down for the second time. Nicely done. He had stopped 90% of those Kargis.
He did.
Probably.
As I said, I think that's going to be the game. I reckon that's going to be one of the game-winning plays right there, taking out all those Kargis, because it means that purple should have enough to take on the rest.
Wow, Duffy using 158 APM at the moment.
He's trying to win. He's trying to win really hard. He's doing his best with micro, but and he is getting conversion back up online now, so he will have additional metal. But look at this push coming in. This is a couple of dragons trying to fend off 12 Razorbacks. This is going to be rough. I actually think you might be able to almost push straight on in at this point, but doing the smart thing, going around the outside, looking for conversion, looking for more units. And if they do manage to find that big conversion pack, I think it's all over for the Kings. Demons going down to pawns and ticks.
Dreadnought hitting from the south. It's all happening now.
It's all happening now, and that's one of the biggest conversion packs left in the map gone. Eco down to 400, and that's all of the build power down for Duffy. And the APHIS is down. That is essentially all she wrote for the Kings team. In fact, it is all she wrote. What a well-fought game out of both players. Fantastic moves from both sides that managed to push this one right to the extreme. I genuinely thought the Kings were going to win at a couple of fights, and it was only towards the end that the peasants really did start to absolutely do the work that was needed. Some great snipes from long-range units getting the eco, some absolute great holds, and what a great job from our community.
Yeah, nicely done. Looking at the graphs, you can see Duffy really ahead there with the metal produced ticks with the start of the game, but not to worry, it probably made for a little bit more of a competitive game. But yeah, by reclaiming those labs after building them instantly gives you a bonus that you have against your name, which was 40% for Duffy. Energy produced, also massive there. Duffy just well ahead of all the other players for eco, and not taking really any eco damage right until the end of the game there, apart from a couple long-range hits from those vanguards. And then damage dealt. The red and orange players doing a lot of damage. Ollie coming online, the yellow player with those Kargis, and doing quite a bit of damage as well, but then consistently out of all the peasants working together to get the job done at the end of the game there.
Considering how many times Yellow got shut down at the start, I think it was 3 raids by Recluse that took him down 3 times. The fact that he came on back and outdid all of the other peasants for damage, that's pretty impressive.
Nicely done, peasants.
Quick look at quickly looking at the stats for damage efficiency. One of the contributing factors for the win was the peasants getting 116% damage efficiency. So they did really smart engagements and they really cleaned house with the metal. So great job for those guys.
I'm just so impressed by Duffy's actions per minute.
Oh my god. I do not want to play him in a PvP game. That would be terrifying.
I don't even get a third of that.
Alright. Thanks everyone for joining us. I hope you liked this game. We had us on the edge of our seats and we hope it had you too. If you did, drop us a like. We've just hit 200 subs and we're super stoked on that. Leave us a comment. We're heading into the Christmas season, so time's getting tight, but we appreciate it. We will read out to you. If you ever want to join us, jump on down into the Discord, link in the description. We'd love to have you on these nights.
That's it, guys. We hope to see you next time.
Catch you next time.